So I'm hoping to tell you about how you might pay attention to the links window in InDesign to see what's going on with your Photoshop and Illustrator files when you bring them in. Let's take a look. I'm going to share my screen. So here we are in our favorite program, InDesign. Here we are in our favorite program, InDesign, with the Bacon Monster. Yes, that's my son playing violin in the background. Isn't that awesome? So here's our Bacon Monster on page 1 with a nice illustration. And I might find myself thinking, I kind of like the way it's working, but I'd like to put my type more like here, which means I'd kind of like to put him over here somewhere. Maybe I even want to change this. So I've just, as you're fooling around with the design, it can be fairly liquid and loose, and it'd be nice to have some control over how that works. So what I'd like to do is just put that over there on the side. I've got by the way, if you look at type, hide hidden characters, and you have to be in this mode where you can see what's going on. I've got a soft return right there. Soft return is shift return, and what that does is force a line down without adding a new return, a new paragraph into that thing. So what we've got now is there's my Bacon Monster, but I want him somewhere else. I want him a little bit farther over. So you can see here in my links window, right here in my links palette, if you don't see that, window, links, just like that, it tells me there's a file called Bacon Monster PSD on this page, on page 1, and in T-Rex on page 2. I can even double click on that and say, show me that, and there he is. So if I said I want to take a look at my Bacon Monster file and I want to mess around with it, I could just switch like Command Tab and go through my open applications and I'd find Photoshop there. I can also alternatively just go, I want to edit that file. Edit original. Doing, takes me right there. So that's kind of cool. But what I want to be able to do is to say, I've got, as you know how I drew this thing, and we talked about this before, I've got an inking layer and a color layer that together constitute that monster on the painted background. So if I hold down Shift, I could just grab both of those layers and then say select all, Command A, select all right there. And then I'm just going to grab my move tool here and drag my Bacon Monster over to the side. So all the parts that are attached to that, associated with that, including the little shadow underneath him, come along with and move over. So then I go just click anywhere to deselect, and then I say save. This is the important part. If I don't save it, then it doesn't know that there's a new thing. So if I save it though, saved, cool, go back to InDesign, and now what do we see here? I'm back here in InDesign and I see my Bacon Monster PSD file has nothing attached to it. Did I not save somehow? Save, InDesign, update it automatically. How cool is that? So you can, if it doesn't update automatically, there's a button right here that lets you update automatically. You can also set your settings. I went and messed around with this a little bit earlier. Preferences, file handling, check links before opening document, find missing links before opening document. So those two will determine what's going on with your links. So then if I go back and say in Photoshop, I don't like that anymore, I'm going to undo that, put it back where it was, save the file, doink, 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 go back to InDesign, and now here we go. There's a little note here that says something's different. If I just hit that little relink button right there, it goes back and finds that file, puts it back the way it was before. So that's how to use your links palette in here to just go back and forth between Illustrator and Photoshop and Illustrator and just play with your files. Just kind of, experiment, try a couple of things, save it, and then go back and do it again. By the way, I'm in mode here, a view mode, that lets me see how this thing looks. It's called screen mode here, normal versus preview. So there's those two. You can toggle between those using W. And here we go. I just hit W and I see that's what my page looks like. That's what my my outline almost, the normal looks like. I can see the construction margins, bleed, and things like that. Pay attention to that line too. That's the bleed line. Make sure your artwork goes out to your bleed if it's supposed to bleed off the page. Okay, hope that's helpful. I always welcome your comments. Send me a note if you said, I need another video, help. Thanks. See you guys.